A family is watching television when a mysterious knocking sound pulls them away from their show and into a frightening situation. Listen to this part and tell me if you can hear it too. They sit up and hear two more knocks, much deeper than before. It almost sounds like two heavy footsteps coming from within the room as he opens the door, but according to him, there was nothing to protect the home against. Absolutely no one was on the other side. One more observation, an orb happens to go by at the exact moment they hear the knocking sound, which I think could be a signal that someone's already found its way into their home. This security guard wasn't expecting to guard the shopping mall against evil spirits. Published by the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in April of 2019, this security footage was captured at Galerías La Paz in Mexico. The Galerías has a dark history of animal and human sacrifices. It's reputed to be haunted by everything from spectral children to the lady in white. These security guards witnessed the latter. In the video, you can see the lady walking down the mall's corridor. A security guard passes right by her but doesn't seem to notice her at all. The lady appears solid but then vanishes into thin air. The uploader writes, he didn't notice anything unusual, but it was only when he finished his rounds and was back in the surveillance room that his partner asked if he had seen the woman in white. The security guard said that he passed no one, but when they watched the CCTV footage back, they couldn't deny it. Is it La Llorona? If so, this guard is lucky he didn't drown. This giant snake is so long that it takes a full 20 seconds to record its full length, and when the camera person finally reaches the other end of the snake, they suddenly become prey. The reptile is already facing them and looks to have been waiting for them for the whole time. The camera person only has a few scant moments to let out a startled yelp before the reptile lunges straight at their face. Check out its color and markings and leave a comment saying what kind of snake you think this is. I'm hoping we can figure out what part of the world this took place in, and if the snake was venomous, in which case I doubt this person survived. Rancor Slayer begins his video of a bare white basement wall. He says he and his sister were playing down in this basement with Nerf guns when he was pushed against this wall, which sounded hollow. He said this surprised him because there's nothing there in the plans of the house. He takes a drill to the wall, cutting a little hole to take a look. He then pokes a screwdriver through to make the hole cleaner. He cuts through the wall, digs through the insulation and says, "There is something here, but what is that something?" He says he feels cold air there, so there must in fact be something beyond. He clears the insulation out of the way. There's a piece of plywood behind it, and when he pushes the plywood over, he finds an entire hidden room. The room is rather large but short, so he crouches while exploring the area. In the corner of the room, there's a briefcase covered by leaves. "This is what I was imagining would be in here," he says. Inside, he finds Canadian money, Pez dispensers, toys which he says appear to be from the 70s, an old coin purse with old coins inside, some colored pencils, a Burger King pin, and a hockey ribbon. Some claim the video is fake, but this YouTuber says that this must be a time capsule because some of the money is sealed. He says his family has lived in this house for 16 years now, and the room had remained hidden all this time. So what do you think, staged or not? You decide. In this vlog, it's Justin Stewart, and guys, it's me, Andy, visit a mansion to go to a party. No one is there, so they sneak in. The mansion is huge with a bridge and a waterfall, 4 garages, a gym, a climbing rock wall, a sauna, and a library. It's insane. And finally, after exploring the house, they find a secret room. A door is camouflaged into one wall, but they spot that the bottom is raised a bit, and there's a clear mark that someone has pressed into the corner at some point. One of the crew presses on the door, and it opens into darkness. They hit the light switch and find a whole other room out of sight. The room beyond is slightly underwhelming compared to the rest of the house. The room is bare, no furniture, nothing on the walls. What the homeowners used it for is completely unknown. While it's a tad eerie to find a room completely hidden in this incredible mansion, you kind of wish there was more to it, although maybe there is, and we just don't know it yet. Two friends are riding down the Kerala Highway in India when they see what they later agree has to have been a ghost of some kind. The figure is dressed in pure white and holding something, maybe a flashlight. Creepiest of all is how they seem to be deeply staring into the darkness at something. They are in such a deep state of concentration that they don't even look up when the car zooms by just a few feet away. They remain frozen in place and seem to be holding their face in surprise. If this is a ghost, then they could have been looking at the roadside remains of their own body. While staying at a hotel room in Ireland, Roisin O'Brien grabs her dad to show him something bizarre. A ghost is moving a cup on its own, she tells him. Of course, nothing happens and she looks like a total liar until suddenly...
That's freaky.
The cup moves all by itself to the edge of the glass shelf and then stops. There is no string around it that I can see, and besides, she is holding her phone and her dad is sitting on the bed clear across the room with his back turned, so no one was messing with it. She resets it, and as soon as she complains that it takes the ghost a long time, the cup moves instantly.
Like it's taken ages for it to go, you see.
So let's just say there was string tied around the cup. Her father is now standing to the right of her, so if it was him, then the cup should pull to the right in his direction. Instead it moves straight ahead and stops exactly on the edge of the shelf, same as before. The shelf is level and there is no moisture around the rim to make it slide like that. This is glass on glass, you can hear the friction.
Ages for it to go, you see.
She's right. The cup is moving on its own, maybe from a ghost. A security guard is walking up a stairwell on his overnight shift when he hears this. Posted to TikTok, Simon Lockhart shines his flashlight on the floors below and above and can't tell from which direction the footsteps are coming, but then they come running at him.
Oh my, what the f? What the f? Bro.
If your heart just jumped into your throat, you're not alone. Some in the comments say they see a face in the door. When he looks up, do you see it? Is this what is chasing him?
Oh my, what the f? What the f? Look at that.
What the heck, Dad?
Blake Newdorf is fishing with his dad on a pier in Kelowna, BC when he sees a giant creature off in the distance, at least 60 feet according to his estimate. Blake is sure that this is the famous Ogopogo Lake monster. Apparently, it has some kind of sharp scales, from what he says here at 1 minute and 13 seconds.
It looks like it has spikes.
The camera is not good enough to pick up much detail aside from a basic outline. I think it kind of looks like it could be a piece of driftwood, but I guess at 60 feet long it would have to be a whole tree. Whatever it is, it floats around the bend where the water channels into a small bay. According to Blake, when they went around the corner to follow it, it was suddenly gone. Unfortunately, by that point, they had for some reason stopped recording. If what they are saying is true though, then this couldn't have been driftwood. What would you do if you ran into a massive python in the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. Images sometimes crop up on Google Maps Street View that are incredibly suspect. This Google capture is a bit more supernatural. Published to YouTube by The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in August of 2018. This image was captured at Martha Chapel Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas. As one of the country's oldest cemeteries, Martha Chapel was built in the early 19th century. According to travel guide expert Dana Goolsby, the road leading to the cemetery is nicknamed Demon's Road. It earned this nickname from alleged encounters with the spirits that haunt the area. According to Goolsby, visitors to the cemetery sometimes find large handprints on their vehicles. Is something supernatural making its mark? According to the Houston Chronicle, the Google Maps Street View image was uploaded to YouTube in August of 2018, where it started trending. The image shows headstones near a fence line, surrounded by trees. Behind one of these trees hides a ghostly little girl. The grayish tint of her skin gives her a phantom glow as she peers around the corner of the tree. But wait, that's not the only haunting figure in view. Behind the fence line, walking amongst tall tombstones, is a dark cloaked figure. The phantom being definitely looks out of place. Maybe the cloaked figure is seeking this girl. We hope it doesn't find her. Some videos have the power to keep us up all night long. As we're drifting off to sleep, they enter into our subconscious, making us sit bolt upright. The fear is real. The fright. This was posted to Reddit with the uploader writing, "My friend is security at the airport, and he saw this through the security cameras." The video shows an American Airlines desk with what appears to be a service door beside it. The airport looks empty. Perhaps the security footage was taken during closing hours. But if it's empty, what makes the door do this? The door swings open aggressively, with no one behind it. These types of doors are usually heavy and secure, and as AstralCath explains in the comments, are often locked or require a manual code to open, so it's unclear how wind or something natural might have burst the door open like this. So what could it be? Theories in the comments range from a ghost running late for a flight to unequal air pressure. Redditor Steve MageGod points out that there's a slight shadow change before the door flings open. So as usually happens, we've got those who think this is paranormal activity on one side, and the skeptics who suggest this could be readily explained on the other. Which side are you on? Two friends stand on the edge of the woods, looking for a figure that's said to haunt their suburban neighborhood in Missouri. What they encounter while exploring this forest opening has left people asking if it's real or fake for years since. A shadow person kneels in the woods, regarding them without saying a single word. They see the shadow for only a moment, but it's scary enough to make them drop the camera and run. Later, they retrieve the camera and upload it onto YouTube. If you listen closely, moments before they see the strange figure, you can hear his friend Ben saying he feels something piercing through him, something like its cold, lifeless stare. A YouTuber named Outdoors Weekly is fishing with his little brother when he gets a little too comfortable with his surroundings and makes the mistake of letting his guard down.
Oh, no! Oh my god! Oh, dude! Oh!
He sees the snake at 2 minutes and 21 seconds and hears his raised foot approximately 1 second later at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, ready to come down. He was about to step right on it, no doubt about that, but I want to know how bad the bite would have been. Take a look at this reptile. Is this one you can identify? Thanks for the answer if so. A YouTuber named Combo Hugs notices a burly man acting very out of place in his apartment complex. For starters, he is peeking from around a corner and behind a bush with his phone.
Look at him. He's been sitting there taking pictures with his phone and watching people at the pool since like 10 minutes ago when I was walking my dog.
According to Combo Hugs, the man would act like he was busy on his phone whenever someone walked by, only to resume his photographic activities once they'd passed a safe distance. I will say that I did notice some small children in this video, which is why I'm glad Combo Hugs called the police and alerted the apartment manager shortly after recording this as evidence. Shortly after moving into their new apartment, this couple began to feel watched, so they installed a camera in the bedroom. A few nights later, they record a full-grown adult standing outside of their window. At first, he is so focused on staring into their bedroom that he doesn't even seem to notice or care about how obvious he stands out against the well-lit parking lot. When the couple inside walks closer to the window and gets on the bed, he tries to be a little more cautious but fails miserably. It's pretty obvious that he is still there and eagerly looking straight at them. He is about as close to the window as he can be, and he is probably really getting into the idea of watching them without being seen himself, not knowing that he himself is on camera. They can see him the entire time, and this is the exact moment that the boyfriend goes out and confronts the man, who quickly stands up and shows no aggression as he walks away. It turns out to actually be their neighbor next door. He came over and apologized the next day, but something tells me that this is a compulsion that he cannot help, and soon enough he will be back at it again. If not with them, then with someone else. You head outside for a nice peaceful evening stroll when you encounter this, posted to TikTok by Daniela Duque. The uploader says in the clip, "Something happened that changed my life, check." The clip shows at least a dozen people all dressed in white, wandering down the empty street carrying torches. It's not clear what's going on here. Many in the comments are saying this looks like the set from a movie. Others suggest the horror film Midsommar, while some think this group is cult-like, perhaps performing a ritual. Still others consider this is more likely the Purge. Are you ready for it? I'm not.
Don't start going up. Stop, please, go. Oh my, put on the brake! Guys, stop!
A bus driver in Alfred, New York was accused of drinking and driving and was given a 90-day jail sentence. The event was caught on camera after 56-year-old Martha Thompson was ordered by students to stop operating the bus, an order that was ignored. There were 37 students on the bus after Thompson took them at a 70-mile-per-hour clip through their journey, hit a mailbox, and even started rolling backwards down a hill, as can be seen in the video. The older students tried to convince Thompson to stop, but she was defiant. They kept insisting that she was not okay and should turn off the vehicle. When she continued to refuse, they accused her of scaring the small children on the bus, which she was. When she also refused to open the door, the older kids took matters into their own hands and began shepherding the students out the back door emergency exit, while Thompson repeatedly shouted, "You can't get off the bus." Thompson's defense attorney said she never ever would intentionally put any of those children in any type of risk. The fact that my client has no criminal history. No one was injured, but this has been a really good thing because it's turned her life around, and now she's getting the help that she needs. While it's all very well and good that the driver is getting help, her blood alcohol level was 0.15. The DMV notes a BAC of 0.04 for commercial drivers can result in a DUI or DWI conviction nationwide. She's incredibly lucky that no children were harmed in this incident of negligence. I was looking for more information about this security cam video because it's really creepy. It is said to be taken from a lab experiment in Russia. The test subject lies in bed and begins to shake like something has gone seriously wrong. Nobody comes to help them and the camera continues to silently record. After a while, the test subject begins to levitate in the air, and the video ends shortly afterwards. This almost has to be special effects, and some people say that they could have seen this from a movie while others swear it was real. It looks pretty real to me, but if you've seen this from any Hollywood production, then let us know. If you're feeling a presence in your basement, there's probably a reason. Published to YouTube in October of 2019. The uploader explains that this was the first footage she captured of a ghost on her laptop with Xbox One Kinect. She says other paranormal things occurred along with the Kinect footage, including her laptop's battery running out of juice quickly, and a plastic Walmart bag moving of its own accord, despite no draft being present. As the uploader demonstrates the Kinect's capabilities, it shows only her limb movement for a while. When she brings a doll lacking a head and places it on a rocking chair, something appears to be hovering by a bookshelf in the background, something with lime green energy. It remains there for a long while, but when the woman places the baby head on the door, a new Kinect figure appears right next to the rocker, or perhaps the same figure has moved. This time its energy appears aqua. It remains there active for a very long time and then disappears at one point. When the woman walks past it to sit down on the couch, it doesn't again reappear. It's either about time to move or to throw out that doll, or both. Have you checked your home security cameras? You'll want to after seeing this video. Published to the Chills Narrator subreddit by SirPenguin09, the Redditor explains that everyone was at the hospital visiting his cousin on June 22nd. No one was home, but when they checked their security footage, this is what they found. The clip shows a blur of something walking past. While the visual isn't clear, it's definitely a human figure. Sir Penguin goes on to say all doors were locked, all windows were safeguarded, and that no other security cameras around the house caught any movement. So if this is a person, how did he get in? And if not, how will this Redditor get him out? Many in the comments are just as perplexed as Sir Penguin, but Redditor 2low40 sums it up best, writing, "Ghosts or home invader. The thought of whatever this is walking through your home is absolutely terrifying. Sometimes when you're looking for the past on, you find the living." Published by HD Adam in February of 2022. This paranormal crew faces off with a very angry, alive dude. While exploring what they think is an abandoned building, they first see this strange image reflected in a window. It looks like an angry face, but are we just imagining that? A minute later, the face remains. One of the crew goes to check an adjacent door. After finding it locked, he turns away. A moment later, something bangs loudly on the door. Continuing on, they open the door to another room and find this mysterious man sitting in the darkness. The man seems angry. He stands up and starts yelling at them. He tells the crew to get out of his house, and they are soon pushed out with force. Next time, they'd better be sure no one's home.
Çık lan dışarı çık. Yemiş mevine evinden çıkacağım zaten. Çık çık. Kadına sen yaptın lan. Çık oğlum çık. Dışarı çık. Çıkarım bırak. Çık dışarı çık lan.
This strange CCTV video captures a bizarre event that's worth taking a second look at. When played at normal speed, you'll see a blurry object show up for a brief moment and then disappear just as fast. Slow down the video and you'll see that this object is actually traveling at an impossibly fast rate of speed. It looks vaguely human and the CCTV is able to correctly identify a head, torso, and legs as indicated by the small purple quadrants. Maybe this is a camera malfunction, or maybe this is a rare sighting of a creature that should not exist. Of all the scary creatures I've seen, this unknown underwater sighting is probably one of the weirdest. Check out this creepy video uploaded on March 20th of 2012 from a cheap cell phone in terrible weather, so unfortunately the resolution isn't that great. Anyway, the skies darken overhead as if heralding the arrival of something dreadful from beneath the ocean waves. That's when this strange sighting is caught on tape, and I'm not sure what it is. A whale's head, the tentacle of a giant creature perhaps, or maybe something even scarier. A creature slaps the boat deck and then goes underwater with a 9-to-1 like to dislike ratio. Most people seem to believe this scary video's real, but I can't say I agree. Here's my analysis. Like so many others, I too thought it was a giant creature sighting at sea until I noticed something strange at 9 seconds into the video. Pool railings, or so I suspect. If I'm correct, then this must have been taken at a swimming pool, not a boat like the title says. So either this was a strange creature sighting in a pool, or, and this is what I'm going with, it's merely footage of an aquarium show edited to look scarier than it was. This kind of looks like the tank of a killer whale, so maybe this was taken while training one. If this is fake, then congratulations to the maker of this video for fooling tens of thousands of people into believing it was real and going after a boat. Me too at first. At least until some further analysis. Here's a question for this video: human or mutant? Published by Mr. Illusion. I truly hope that this is an illusion. The scary video shows a creature with a very human-like face curled up on the floor. Its body, however, is not human. It's small and extremely hairy with hooved limbs and sharp talons. I wouldn't want to run into this horror in the wild, and I'm pretty sure 83% of people wouldn't either. Only 17% can handle it. This truck was supposed to be a gift for Christmas, but it only seems to move by itself and refuses to take orders. Orbs fly by here at the 54-second mark as we shift our focus to the useless remote control, which sits discarded on the counter. A toy truck moving by itself is definitely weird, but what happens next seems like way too much of a coincidence to be completely random. I know that my audience is evenly split on the subject of orbs, with half believing they are paranormal and the other half certain they are just dust. I still haven't decided what the answer is for myself, but it's videos like this one, where an orb just so happens to fly over the object as soon as it's mentioned, that really makes me wonder what's going on here. Something strange happens every night in the room of a YouTuber named Sumi, and it happens at 3 a.m. The door looks fully shut with the latch in place, so that means somehow the door opens without the knob turning, and then continues to open with nobody on the other side. It's a lightweight door, but even if the house was built on a slope or something, I don't think it would open that easily. Plus, if this really does happen at 3 a.m., like Sumi claims, then there's just no question in my mind that A, their whole house is haunted, and B, it's time to install a lock. Timothy Bartlett is exploring a water park that's haunted by a former guest named Billy.
Hi, is anybody here?
Hi, Billy. I'm here.
Things are about to get real creepy real fast. Watch.
Could you move something again for me? Oh. Holy sh**.
A chair moves on its own accord upon Timothy's request for Billy the Ghost to move an object and prove himself to be real. Paranormal activity is possible, but the low quality resolution could easily hide a string if there was one. This was not done on purpose as the resolution is average quality for a 2012 phone camera video, so maybe it's real. The Vancouver Paranormal Society investigates a house whose owner has been complaining of strange activity during late hours. They gather in the living room and decide to address the spirit outright. You can hear 2 taps after they try and get its attention.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
They next explain the rules of communication and get no response.
Give me a knock for yes or 2 knocks for no.
That means it actually tapped twice to signify no. When they said they were going to ask it a series of questions, not only did it respond, but it somehow knew what it was going to be asked before they even said the question. As if that wasn't weird enough, as soon as they ask the spirit if it used to live here, they get a visual disturbance in front of the pillow that's in the woman's lap.
Did you used to live here?
Somehow the team misses all of these signs and declares the house to be uninhabited by spirits. After watching these instances, however, I beg to differ. Connor is an urban explorer from the UK who has been making urbex videos for over 3 years and has had his share of eerie encounters. The Explorer Returns is the name of his channel, and on it are 2 places in particular that I bet he wished he never stepped foot in. One of them is the Merrick Park Nursing Home. Shut down in 2014, the nursing home became the center of controversy after 2 residents lost their lives due to neglect. An investigation revealed the elderly were being fed medication that was out of date and didn't work. They were also helplessly exposed in cold water baths for prolonged periods of time, and other mistreatments that no one should have to endure. It's pitch black outside when Connor and his friend Daniel find the place, and the inside is just as dark. His flashlight combs across room after room filled with flowers sent by family members who had no idea what miserable conditions their loved ones were being kept in. The doors still have names on them, and the residents seem to respond to having their name read aloud. Connor enters one room and a feeling of intense unease makes him let out an involuntary moan. A woman's laughter comes from the corner of the room by a pile of her former possessions that are no doubt teeming with energy from her passing. Like I said before, it's only Connor and Daniel, so they shouldn't be hearing any other voices, let alone a laugh like this one. At any rate, the spirits seem relatively friendly until they make a mistake at 2 minutes and 19 seconds by wiping some leaves off of these 2 names with their shoe. They meant no disrespect by the gesture, just the opposite actually, but stepping on the names of those who have passed in their own home is bound not to go over well. After all, these spirits have already experienced enough mistreatment when they were still alive. Connor steps at the doorway of a laundry room lined with someone's clothes. He doesn't notice the arm of the shirt sleeve move on its own. It's probably just a draft from the open window now that I look closer at it, but that still doesn't explain the angry eyes peering at him from within. They somehow miss this and instead focus on something upstairs. The power is off, and yet a strange chime takes them up a floor. The tension grows as they track it from room to room until the source is only a few feet away.
In here, it's in here. Yes, in here.
They find a motion sensor that stays on for as long as the door remains open. However, it wasn't going off until recently, so that means the door must have just opened when no one was on that floor. It's weird, but they're more relieved it's not an alarm, so they press on to the 3rd floor. Holes in the roof have left some rooms filled with leaves and open to the elements. They don't find much up here, and when they are ready to leave, their suspicions about opening doors are confirmed.
Nothing, just empty, just rooms.
The door just...
The door that they had clearly left open at 12 minutes and 50 seconds is now mysteriously closed. Either it has shut on its own, which is certainly possible because it's pretty thin and lightweight, or else something closed it besides them. As they are leaving the Merrick Park nursing home, the camera picks up a final occurrence. Listen. The craziest of all, though, has to be when Connor explores an abandoned asylum at 1 in the morning. Through the woods and under a gate lies the hapless estate where many were held their entire lives. It takes Connor 8 minutes just to find an unboarded window, and by then he is almost too fearful to venture inside. Aside from the paranormal, this looks to be a possible hangout for tough locals as well. The inside is completely and unnaturally silent. The house doesn't creak, crack, or settle at all. Connor keeps hearing things that don't register up on camera, and he suspects that something is in the large room with him. He sets up a K2 meter to detect electromagnetic energy but finds none. He talks out loud to a spirit who apparently isn't there, then gets moving again. Or maybe the spirit was listening close by all along.
Let's go upstairs.
When he goes into the next room, he catches on camera a fleeting glimpse of a tall shadow at 12 minutes and 15 seconds. He doesn't see the shadow man in real life, but his equipment certainly does. It's not graffiti either, if that's what you were thinking, because when he comes back downstairs and turns at 17 minutes 4 seconds, the wall it was standing against is clean. It's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the room where Connor left his K2 meter suddenly experiences odd activity as a mysterious white light slowly grows into a beam for a full minute, from 15 minutes and 15 seconds to 16 minutes and 15 seconds, and then fades away. He goes back to the K2 meter and runs some more experiments. None of his questions get any answers, and it doesn't seem interested in communicating with him at all, or at least not as much as it wants to from a distance. He sets up the K2 meter in another room and decides if this doesn't work, then he will end the investigation. He doesn't know that he has already caught both a shadow figure and a mysterious white light on tape already, and is growing somewhat frustrated. Just when he is ready to give up, the shadow man returns. And as he quivers in the cold, he fails to miss two eyes looking at him from the doorway where the footsteps just were. The K2 meter still hasn't gone off, but that's because it's not in the room with him. It's clearly waiting just outside.
I'm done. I'm so done.
Upon announcing that this investigation is over, the Shadow Man takes it upon himself to walk into the same room and make itself known.
Holy...
These fishermen were casting into the ocean waters of Palm Beach, Florida, when a massive potential megalodon shark comes straight at their boat. The gigantic shark is easily the same size as their entire boat and could flip them if only it knew how. The sea creature faces them head on and gives the fishermen a great view of its Goliath physique as they have a tense standoff. Then it quickly snatches up the bait and retreats back to the depths below. It's hard to make out a lot of detail because there is somewhat of a glare, but I have little doubt that this video is real. Let me know if you have any idea as to what kind of shark this could possibly be. A group of kids are hanging out at a park in New York when a much older man strolls through their group no less than 3 times. In his left hand is what appears to be some kind of small bag with a tightly wrapped camera lens sticking out the middle. The camera is held low and pointed at the teens as he walks by, and I could be wrong, but it looks like he might be trying to stare at someone out of the corner of his eye without alerting their suspicions. Finally, after standing in the middle of the crowd without moving for over 30 seconds, one of the teens calls him out for his allegedly shady behavior. Watch how quickly he bolts and tell me if you think he was up to something no good.
Yo, you're really awkward. I have to know that.
This video is undoubtedly real, and all we can do is hope this man was eventually brought to justice. A popular YouTuber named Shark is brought to this allegedly haunted location after his friend had a ghost sighting here the last time he went exploring.
And this is Marco. This is the guy, you saw the ghost, right?
Yeah, but I saw it.
You actually saw a ghost?
A ghost, man.
You're not even kidding?
I'm serious.
Just kind of want to come here, see if we see anything paranormal, see if anything's going on, because right when he told me that, I was like, okay, we need to come.
They are approaching an old historic house when a mysterious figure is caught on camera in the courtyard.
Push, dude, that's not even moving.
No, it's moving.
Oh, yeah.
It's moving back. No, it's moving.
Just
Zoom in on that.
It's like, I'm zoomed in all the way.
It's like swaying back and forth.
They argue whether or not the mysterious figure is alive, and then the object moves, so it's presumably a person. If this was a maintenance worker or a security guard, then they would probably have a flashlight, and they would also probably ask what's going on, not stand in place being as creepy as possible without making a sound, and what happens next is creepy beyond all explanation.
Bro, it's just someone else.
No. Wait, yo, she's actually moving!
It moved. Bro, it's gone, bro.
The mysterious figure seemingly disappears on camera, although when played in slow motion, it kind of looks like they simply stepped backwards out of the light and into the darkness. Still creepy either way.
Literally right here was where it was. Dude, what?
There's nothing there.
Was that literally just a random girl or something?
I don't know what it was. It looked like a
It looked like it had long hair, so I think it may have been a girl.
A ghost girl, to be precise. I don't necessarily see long hair like he claims, but I'll take his word for it. And 1 minute later, they turn around to see the same shadowy figure now standing in the very place where they were at the beginning of this 3 a.m. video. I think this is probably a paranormal event and most likely a ghost sighting of a little girl like they claim. The ghostly shadow figure doesn't seem much taller than the railing that it's standing beside, and here's a scary moment you probably missed. Watch this window. At 4 minutes and 25 seconds the light is on, and as soon as they see the figure the light turns off by itself. It could be a timer, but it's a small detail that makes me think this is not planned and is in fact a paranormal event. We may have just discovered the soundtrack to your nightmares. Published to YouTube by Column A in June of 2019. This clip shows a young man in a prison cell, no context given. He speaks to the camera and, in the midst of his monologue, he gives a strange, otherworldly shriek like a velociraptor. Why? Well, YouTubers have a wealth of hypotheses. For example, Lord Woody thinks that the man is sucking the soul out of the cameraman. I just know if I were in this situation, I'd be getting the heck out of there. Maxime is on a mission to communicate with the spirits in this house. Published by Realized Alterna in April of 2022, and originally published by YouTuber Paranormal Point, this ghost hunter may have made contact with the fiery depths below. As he begins his session at night, something begins to play the piano.
Найди куклу.
A doll is mentioned through the spirit box, and outside this window he sees creepy glowing eyes. When he asks about the doll, he is simply told to find her, and find her he does. He asks what the doll's name is, and receives a scary answer. He is told to do a ritual with the doll. As he's told it's dangerous here, he hears strange screams.
Изгнать его нужно.
Снова эти крики.
He later lights the doll ablaze as part of the ritual. As he does, it raises its arm by itself. Is there anything more terrifying than this? Here's hoping the demon was exorcised. Up a long forest mountain path is an abandoned house near the Chinese city of Chengdu that is said to be haunted. An explorer named the Sneezing Monkey travels to the fabled house to see if anything paranormal is there. There's not much left inside, but he does find an old book that he seems particularly interested in. At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, it almost looks like it gets slapped out of his hands by a possible ghost, but he could have dropped it too. Tell me what these pages say. For some reason, he seems to feel it's interesting enough to show the camera. Not much else happens, and just when I was doubting this house was haunted, I hear this. He's looking in some kind of fire pit or something and hears a noise. He looks up and hears it again coming from the attic. He doesn't stick around for long and wisely decides to leave. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. TikToker Kitty K38, also known as Paranormal Nightmares on YouTube, continues to capture paranormal encounters in her home. This appears to be home surveillance footage in their living room. In the left corner, there is a chair with two supposedly haunted dolls on it. Watch what happens when Jamie enters the room. Upon noticing the chair tilting backwards, Jamie grabs a piece of wood and waves it behind the chair to check for any strings. He cannot find any though. The chair finally returns back down and Jamie quickly exits the room. All this recorded evidence really aids to the legitimacy of this haunted house. What would you do if you lived in a house like this? I'd be sleeping with the lights on. When the paranormal team Cazadores de Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approach the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. A YouTuber named Jonathan senses something outside of his home and begins recording. He doesn't make it very far before he finds the source of his unease staring directly back at him.
Okay, guys. So,
A small set of beady eyes in the darkness sends Jonathan running back into his home. I was positive it was just a cat until I noticed there are other eyes in the video too, like when he turns around here. Maybe Jonathan does have an overactive imagination and was frightened by a neighborhood cat. Or maybe he really is being watched in his own yard by an unseen network of nightmarish creatures. Amanda Castillo uploaded a video to YouTube of her being stuck in a traffic jam on a busy highway near Chino Hill. Usually in a traffic jam like this, it can be quite boring as you have nothing to do but to simply wait until the backup slowly starts to ease up and you can continue driving. But that day, Amanda saw something that definitely caught her attention. Right here. And what this uploader is claiming is that this is a bird that has passed away and is just floating in the air. And I do kind of see that outline that they're talking about. I mean, whatever this is, bird or not, it still looks like something that shouldn't be just floating in the air like it is. And it looks like whatever it is, it's floating fast as well, like it's clearly moving. This is one of the very few videos I have seen recently that I honestly have no explanation for what is happening. It looks like a bird is simply floating in midair above this busy highway, but that obviously cannot be possible. However, it looks like this is exactly what is happening here. A commenter on Amanda's videos claims to have also been on the same highway that day at around the same time, and he claims that he saw the bird too and assures people that there was no visible string anywhere attached to the bird. So what could have possibly caused this? Is this really a bird or something else? I'm curious to hear your theories on this one. Urban explorer Steve Ronan is exploring a town by a lake that was opened in the 1950s and had a very dark history. They had an entire arena where dogs were forced to do horrible things and had multiple passings in the town under strange circumstances. It has since been abandoned and is now considered a ghost town with paranormal energy. Steve explores the area with some locals who show him around. Well, the entire exploration has some seriously creepy vibes. There's two parts in particular that are especially frightening. At 12 minutes and 20 seconds, Steve says he caught a demon on camera. Do you see it here?
Right here. There's
And again at 31 minutes and 20 seconds, Steve says more paranormal activity is caught on tape here.
See with this. Even this mirror over here. You can see the reflection of the door and my flashlight, but you can't even see me.
Overall, I would stay far away from that ghost town. There's something unnatural in this yard. Can you tell what it is? Published by Ghost Chanel in April of 2022. You can see a white object moving in the darkness. The object is a little figure. The figure's arms reaches out and then this happens. Reaching out his arms moves the cart back. After moving it back again, the ghost disappears from view, only to reappear on the other side of the cart. A moment later, he is sleeping on it. Are these phantom powers being used for good or evil? They seem to be just for fun. The Paranormal Voyages team is staying overnight at America's scariest motel. Will they get any sleep? Let's find out. Outside, they come across children's graves.
Is that you out there making noise?
When they ask the spirits if they're there, the response is chilling.
That was a kid.
That was a kid.
And the follow-up is even creepier.
There's a witch.
Huh?
It said there's a witch.
My light battery is dying quick.
Yours?
Fully charged. Okay.
But just when you think it can't get worse,
Can the kid come forward and talk to us? Tell us your name. Don't be shy.
Where's the kid? You said that was a kid that I heard.
a little later, Celia feels something.
Touch me?
What?
What are you touching my hair for? Yes.
No?
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you touched the top of my head.
How much you want to bet on? How much you want to bet
You
on?
touched my head.
Back in their room, the haunting follows.
To see if you catch it sometimes.
Sounds like they're pacing, kinda. It sounds like it hasn't happened to us before. We've even slept in the room on the second floor, and we've heard walking on the roof.
When they finally get some sleep, a series of strange events happen. The water turning on and the bed sheet lifting has me convinced that this place is truly haunted. What do you think? Would you stay here? AJ and her friend are hiking the Glacier National Park in Montana when they see a bear charging towards them. The bear sighting becomes even more terrifying when they lose track of it somewhere below. It could come up the small embankment to charge at them, but instead it changes courses and runs towards a second tour group. They frantically scream to try and keep the bear away, but it's of no use. The animal is far from scared as it runs straight into them. Or should I say straight through them. As it turns out, the bear is more interested in getting a wild goat that just so happens to be on the other side. But if any of them had tried to run away, which is a natural instinct when a bear is barreling down on you, then this scary situation would have gone from a bear sighting caught on video to something much worse. When you enter an abandoned building, you don't expect to find a fully functioning service room inside, but that's what YouTuber Shai found in February of 2018. The footage begins at the top of a tower in an industrial-looking area. He then enters a building. The place is obviously abandoned, with no soul in sight, an empty auditorium, a lonely ping pong table, and then descending to the cold, dark basement, which is where he finds the service room in question. Picking up the phone, although he doesn't hear a dial tone, he does receive the tone indicating the phone has been disconnected. Also inside are loads of hardware and servers, blinking lights flashing and all. Next, he happens upon an old computer, which he plugs in. Pushing the button on the tower, the modem turns on. Windows 95 appears, then a black screen with code. A username password screen appears. After attempting to enter something, Shai is told by his live streamers to hit cancel, which he does. He is then allowed to enter. After exploring the computer's contents for a bit, Shai decides to unplug the computer and gets out of there, muttering about a potential secret government project. Was Shai on the right track? Did he just tap into something top secret? I guess we will never know what were on those computers, unless Shai decides to go back and investigate further. You couldn't pay me money to stay in this house. Posted to TikTok by Jen Barari. The TikToker explains that strange things have been happening in her barn-style home. As she's speaking, she hears something, even though she's home alone. She follows the noise. You can hear repeated loud banging coming from the living room. Her cat looks uneasy. When she enters to find no one there, she asks the spirits to stop and leave.
Can you stop?
She then turns to capture her reflection in the television, and it looks like a dark shadow is creeping up behind her. Turning around, there's nothing there. In a later clip, she is showing her viewers the pond outside when a dark shadow passes behind her in the reflection of the window. She walks around the house turning all the lights on, and something starts banging again. She takes this as her cue to leave.
It's okay. It's okay. Holy.
In the comments, TikToker Danny writes, "My electricity bill would be so high because I would never turn a single light off in that house ever." Some say this made their skin crawl. Others suggest sage. Still others say this is beyond sage. I say you should avoid finishing this video unless you're truly brave. A strange white mist in a messy living room in San Francisco has the YouTube community crying paranormal. Whatever this is, it seems like it heads into the light and then abruptly disappears. I've seen a lot of paranormal CCTV videos, and I've never seen anything that looks or moves like this before. It can't be dust because it has two separate parts that move as one. So tell me what you think this is, a real ghost or something else completely different? This channel was uploading the exact same video for 4 entire years straight. Then after 4 whole years, it randomly uploaded this creepy video as of September 2018. As far as I can tell, there's no practical reason for anyone to be doing this. Almost all of the videos had received less than 4 years in just as many years. I have little doubt that the designer of these videos has some sort of malicious intent, because the entire video collection just feels off, especially the latest one. It could be loaded with hidden messages about doing who knows what. Also, I noticed this string of binary code in the description box. If any developers think they can crack it, then please let me know what it says because I'm really eager to find out. This mystery will probably never be solved because all of the videos have been deleted, and if you go to the channel, it simply says this channel does not exist. Sylvia Nicholas has a motion sensor camera that turned on momentarily to catch this strange airborne entity as indicated by the green box. Take a look again in slow motion and tell me if this was a spirit orb, a giant speck of dust, a bug, or something else altogether. Ghost Adventures of Cornwall is the name of a paranormal investigation channel in the UK who says that out of all of the haunted places they've ever explored, this abandoned house is one of the scariest and most active of all. Mark and Haley see a lot of creepy paranormal stuff, and it's all caught on live stream. At 2 minutes and 34 seconds, they see something strange that they think is a ghost. A soft light passes across another room that Mark says was not his. The light looks like it could have been from his flashlight at first, until you zoom in and see that the ghost light actually originates on its own and does not match his camera movements at all. It's not Haley's light either, because as far as I can tell, she doesn't have one. Mark says that the ghost orb returns at 6 minutes and 48 seconds, and this time you can clearly see his camera is pointed straight at the window when this ghost light goes up the wall and disappears.
Look at these curtains, man. Oh, something keeps touching me, Haley.
I think that something was touching him because his camera malfunctions at the same time he feels a ghost nearby. Then later a small blue ghost orb is in the window and it stays in the same spot even when he turns away. And when they set up a spirit box in this area to let the ghost communicate with radio airwaves, a female voice says hello. Tell me if you hear a ghost EVP say hello because I do. A sense of desperation lends a sharpness to her voice that makes me jump. A disembodied ghost voice sounds like she does not want to be condemned to haunting this abandoned house. The paranormal investigation must go on though, and so he is brave and keeps talking to the ghost, wanting to know more. It's a big mistake.
Are you alone? Can you knock? Whoa!
Time to play.
Be careful, son.
Time to play. That's weird.
What?
I said time to play and that one.
Who just said time to play?
Whoa.
You're playing games with me.
At this point, the paranormal investigation has definitely gone wrong, and judging from what the spirit box had to say, A supernatural presence has probably attached itself to them, either a demonic possession or a curse. An evil spirit can make themselves sound lost and confused to gain the trust of paranormal explorers, so maybe that's what happened here. Jay Duncan is at home with his wife and daughter. When he looks out his door and sees a total stranger in rough shape, the man is having a fast-paced conversation with no one but himself, and he can't hold still for a single second.
He's just out there, man. He just won't go away.
When he finally notices Jay a full minute later, his first move is to immediately try the door. I can only imagine what this intruder would have done next had he gotten inside. Instead, he throws his hands up in exasperation, as if they have no right to keep their front door locked. He barks a series of threats and demands to be let in. I think he basically says he's through playing games with them, whatever that means. They snicker at him through the door until he gives up and gets into a relatively upscale truck to leave. Obviously, if he has a truck, then he also has a warm place to stay, which makes me wonder why he wanted to get into Jay Duncan's home to begin with. I think that maybe this person might have been out of their mind and thought they were outside of their own home. If so, I really hope they don't come back when Jay Duncan is asleep at night and try the same again. A man at work accidentally locks himself in a large attic. He's trying to open the door when he hears a strange noise and decides to start recording. He thinks out loud that it could be a rat or a pipe as he cautiously continues to film.
I'm getting kind of a spooky vibe up here. Right there. There it is again.
Soon he realizes that the strange thump is coming from the very top of some steps that he has never seen before. He climbs the steps and suddenly feels like he is no longer alone.
Hello?
Apparently he was right.
Whoa!
Something clatters to the ground and sends him running down the steps. I'm not sure how he managed to get out, but when he did, I'm sure he was glad he had plenty of video evidence to back up his claims. If something falls from above, the universe may be trying to tell you something. Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by MD Vines Official. This will leave you shaking. Out in the jungle at night, a group is discussing something while standing outside of this obscure structure. The moon is full above. They start to see a small point of light blinking in the darkness. They follow it as it moves. Then all of a sudden, something heavy like a brick falls from above. The group starts running like mad. What just tried to take their lives? Whatever it is, the creature is vengeful. They better watch their step. If you have a heart, this entry will break it. It was this woman's dream to arrive at her wedding by helicopter. She decided to surprise her husband at the altar by doing just that. Alongside her brother in July of 2017, she climbed aboard the copter. The flight took off in Brazil, just 1 mile from the reception venue. The excited bride-to-be and her brother are both smiling at the beginning of the video as they take off. But soon they're swallowed up by fog, an alarm starts going off and the camera begins to shake. You can hear the passengers screaming as the pilot loses control of the copter. All 4 pass away in the incident. When the copter didn't arrive at the venue after 15 minutes, despite the organizers being informed of its liftoff, the pastor was forced to tell the groom the devastating news, as neither he nor any of the other 300 guests had known about the planned entrance. The incident came as an absolute horror to the entire wedding party. It's painful to imagine and harder to watch. This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
So you know.
Yeah.
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it
go?
RI, Public Radio, Internet.
They walked in front of the car, right?
Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. Do you think you could stick it out in an abandoned former asylum, and what if you were being watched when you got there? Published to YouTube by This Is Dan Bell in September of 2015. This Place of Nightmares is a hauntingly beautiful house of horrors. The stone building is hidden in an overgrown woods, and naturally, Dan enters the basement first, wallpaper chipping from the wall. As he explores, Dan explains that he kept hearing noises throughout his exploration, which sounded like a person. He thinks a former patient returned to this building and was living there. Well, as a viewer, you're likely distracted by all the intricate details of this building, including its decorative tiles and molding, its stained glass sunroof and one stairwell, its fireplaces and chandeliers. You might miss this figure in the doorway. Dan himself only noticed when safely back home, watching the video back. The point in question occurs at around 7 minutes 5 seconds when he's turning a corner around a stairwell. There's an open door in a hallway beyond with light shining against the door, and a shadow is plainly visible. It moves as Dan turns to head up the stairs. Plenty of other strange things occurred during this visit, including Dan's battery popping and what looked like red stains found on the tile floor in an upstairs room. That's probably the point where you should get the heck out of an abandoned building. I'm just glad Dan and his team made it out. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.